What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video, this time for UFC 309. Jones versus Miocic. We got a pretty fun card this weekend, fellas. A lot to look forward to. Senior citizens in the main event. That'll be exciting. I'm kidding. But yeah, good pay-per-view this weekend, so let's jump right in. But before we do, subscribe now, please. Thank you. Love you. Mwah. Kicking us off at women's flyweight, Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Mora. Fellas, this is a fight I've actually kind of been debating on a little bit. I'm a little unsure of how this fight's going to play out because Eduarda Mora, um, in her UFC run, was fighting at strawweight. She couldn't make the weight cut. It was a really brutal looking weight cut. In her last fight, I believe she looked like a corpse. But she's moving up to flyweight. So I'm unsure. I want to go with Veronica Hardy here just because she's a little bit more. I trust her more because I'm familiar with her skill set. She's been improving. She's shown a little bit more of a well-rounded game. Good Muay Thai striking, really good movement on the outside. And she's got a lot of experience and she's been getting better fight to fight, generally speaking. So I think she's definitely the safer pick for sure. But I have a feeling that Eduardo Mora not cutting so much weight and fighting at her natural weight class, I think in this fight there's a decent chance she shows a better skill level than she previously had in her previous UFC fights. She got like a split decision loss to Denise Gomes, which I don't mind all that much as a loss. So if she does, you know, look a lot better on the scales this weekend, which I'm assuming she should, she is pretty big. She does have pretty good grappling and jiu-jitsu, so might be problems for Veronica Hardy, but I can't pick Mora on that assumption that she's just going to be better. Even though I feel like she could be, I think I'm just going to trust the consistency of Veronica Hardy. I know what I'm getting when I pick her. And Eduardo Mora in her last fight did look like she had some cardiovascular issues. So, but the weight cut might help that, as like it's just an unknown thing, right? Even though Mora predominantly in her career has fought at flyweight, only in the UFC I think she fought at strawweight. So we'll see. I'm gonna go with Veronica Hardy. I think she's just gonna be a little bit better, be able to outstrike her, keep her distance, move on the outside, and in a and not and like a not because typically this is an apex fight. Um, but they're not in the apex; they're in the slightly bigger cage. So I also think that will favor the movement of Veronica Hardy to get herself a decision probably over Eduardo Mora, especially in like rounds 2 and 3. I think Veronica Hardy can really start to put a pace together on Mora, and if she still has cardio issues, she'll lose. Moving up to welterweight, Basil Hafez versus Oban Elliott. Guys, I'm going with Oban Elliott. I think he is pretty fucking good. I underrated him. I did not think he would beat Preston Parsons, but he had an insane performance against Preston Parsons, which really impressed me and showed me that this guy's level is a lot higher than I previously thought it was. Only a couple of things with this fight really for me to break down, and it's just the fact that Oban Elliott, the one thing with him is I really, really don't trust his chin. Like I just don't trust it that much. And Basil Hafez might be on, some Flintstones vitamin gummies, guys. Very big, strong, powerful guy. He does slow down though because he's so strong and powerful, and he throws everything into his shots. I think Oben Elliott, though, as far as skill set goes, is better than Basil Hafez literally everywhere. He's more technical and he's more skilled. So when they start to get tired, as this fight gets a little bit deeper, Basil Hafez is only going to be able to rely on that one big shot landing, and Oban Elliott can rely on the fact that he probably almost certainly has way better cardio than Basil Hafez, and he has way better technique and way more skill, and I think he's a little bit more disciplined in his striking defense, although he can get caught on the chin and put out. I think Oban Elliott here will win a decision here in this fight by just wearing on Basil Hafez over 3 rounds. And I think Basil Hafez is going to come out hot in the first round. He might even drop Elliott, and it's going to be scary. But I'm going to trust in Oban Elliott to hopefully recover if he eats a big shot and keep the pressure on Basil Hafez over rounds 2 and 3. I mean, Mickey Gall gave Basil Hafez hell you know. So I think Oban Elliott can win this fight here. Because I think he's a better striker, better wrestler, just better technically. But Basil Hafez, man, he does have that power, and Oban Elliott's chin is a little bit suspect. So it is possible that Hafez hits him with an absolute shit rocket and separates him from his consciousness. But I think that's pretty low variance, or if that's the word I'm thinking of, low percent chance of happening. Moving up to welterweight, Mickey Gall versus Ramiz Brahimaj. This is a fucking ugly fight, guys. This is a hard fight to get a real read on because, I mean, it's Mickey Gall. And Brahimaj is like, man, he's pretty bad, dude. Um, I think I'm gonna go with Mickey Gall here against Brahimaj just because I don't think Basil Hafez is that bad of a fighter. And Mickey Gall looked pretty good against Hafez. He was eating some big shots. His boxing looked a lot better, but that could just be because Hafez is a bit of a punching bag. But so is Brahimaj. Brahimaj is submission or bust. Like, his striking is ass. Um, and Mickey Gall's got some good jiu-jitsu. He's got a takedown of his own. I don't think he'll look for a takedown. I think he'll largely want to keep this fight standing and keep Brahimaj at the end of his punches. Mickey Gall was working a nice jab against Basil Hafez, and I think that would suit him very well here to pop that jab out. Brahimaj, his striking is bad. He got out grappled in his last fight against Thimba Garimbo, which when your only way to win is grappling, that's kind of not a good look. I mean, maybe Brahimaj latches up a submission on Gall. I mean, Gall is 7-6. He's not the world's greatest fighter or anything, but he does have a really good frame for this welterweight division, and his boxing has looked better. And also, if there's one guy, I think Mickey Gall's back's probably up against the wall as far as his career goes, more so than a Brahimaj. Honestly, I could see either guy maybe getting cut if they lose here, honestly. But I think I'm going to go with Mickey Gall. I think he's just got better boxing. He's got some submission skills of his own, so he should have the knowledge on how to defend certain submissions that Brahimaj might go for if he gets into a bad position. But this is a wacky fight. I don't know how this one's going to go down, fellas. Moving up to heavyweight, Marcin Tybura versus Jonata Deniz. This is another interesting one. Jonata Deniz was originally supposed to fight Derek Lewis like a week or two ago. I think it was a week ago. But Derek Lewis pulled out. So now he's here fighting Marcin Tybura. I think I'm gonna go with Marcin Tybura over Jonata Deniz, dude. I know Jonata Deniz is very dangerous, very powerful. Tons of kickboxing experience this guy has. He is dangerous on the feet, for sure. You know, Marcin Tybura is fucking old, though, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god. Senior citizen. Holy shit. I did not realize he was 40. God damn, he's old. But Marcin Tybura, I just don't think he's dumb enough to just stand there and kickbox with Deniz. I really don't. Like, if you're picking Deniz, I think you have to pick him on the fact that Marcin Tybura is going to be an idiot and go out there and try and have a technical kickboxing match with this guy. Like a guy like, hold on, I'm going to prove my point here. Like a guy like Carl Williams did. Carl Williams, I picked Carl Williams to beat Jonata Deniz, but I also said Carl Williams is a guy who will only shoot a takedown if he's hurt because he's a big dumb idiot dumb, but he has the skill set to beat this guy like 9 out of 10 times. And I was kind of right in that. But the UFC literally told Carl Williams to not shoot takedowns, which is funny. But he shot one in the third round when he was almost flatline unconscious. And he got it easily and was easily able to control Jonata Deniz while he was literally like a gust of wind away from being completely unconscious. So if he can get that takedown on Jonata Deniz that easily, I like, Marcin Tybura is not that kind of guy who's going to go out there and kickbox with him. At least I don't think so. I don't think Tybura is a big dumb idiot dumb like Carl Williams. Like, I think Marcin Tybura is going to be like, this guy is scary. I'm going to shoot a takedown on this guy. And I don't think Jonata Deniz can defend it. Maybe he can. Maybe he can. And if it's a kickboxing match, I would favor Jonata Deniz. But when we look at Marcin Tybura's record, he lost to Spivak by sub. Kind of a very wacky submission Because it looked like Tybura was about to just dominate Spivak in the grappling until he pulled off that fucking, I think it was like an armbar from the bottom or some shit. But Tybura was looking okay in that fight. It was looking like he was gonna beat at least Spivak, but Spivak just clutched up. He has that clutch gene in him. Then he easily got down and strangled Tai Tuivasa. He lost to Tom Aspinall. Okay, beats Blagoy Ivanov in a decision. Beats Romanov in a decision. He loses to Volkov. Gets through Walt Harris, Greg Hardy, Ben Rothwell. Like these are all. He also has beaten Sergey Spivak before as well. I just think Tybura is going to go out there and chase that takedown. And I think if he gets that takedown on Janata Deniz early, I think he can finish him with TKO or a submission. Now, if he doesn't get that takedown, though, Janata Deniz is probably going to put on a clinic. So I'm going to trust in Marcin Tybura. I think he can get his takedown and win this fight. Very close fight. But I'm going to trust in old man Tybura to get this one done. Maybe like a TKO or something to ground and pound. Something like that. You don't have a fight right now, so we can't break that down. I believe this is lightweight, right? Yeah. Didn't know if fucking Jim Miller was moving down. Moving up to lightweight, Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. Another insanely wacky fight where, like, who fucking knows? Because Damon Jackson's got a pretty shitty chin, and Jim Miller's got some fucking firecrackers in his hand. But generally speaking, I think Damon Jackson's gonna win this fight, dude. Jim Miller's 41, bro. Like, let's be fucking real. Outside of Damon Jackson getting slept into oblivion, I really don't see a way Jim Miller beats Damon Jackson. Maybe by submission, but I think that's really unlikely. I like Damon Jackson, Damon Jackson got his ass whipped in his last fight against Chepe Mariscal. He took an insane amount of damage in that fight. He got whipped. But so did Jim Miller in his last fight against Bobby Green, so I don't really think that matters too much. But Damon Jackson, I think he's just right now just a lot better and more technical at this point in time. His striking is ugly, but he's a lot faster in it. He's very tricky with his grappling. He can push a high pace, which might be something that, kind of wears on Jim Miller. I think 155, honestly, is going to help Damon Jackson. I think he's going to look better at 155. And I can see Damon Jackson getting Jim Miller to the ground and just being able to control him. Maybe latching up a submission, but I think largely speaking, I think Damon Jackson can just win minutes and rounds in this fight. I'll be a little bit faster on the feet, not get hit clean by anything too big, and probably get himself a decision win here. Damon Jackson, like, I talk a lot of shit about Damon Jackson, but he's got some okay wins. Like, he's not the world's worst fighter. Chepe Mariscal's a fucking demon. He beats Hernandez, who destroyed Jim Miller, but granted, that was at 145. Billy Q's decent. Dan Igue's really good. KO'd Pat Sabatini, which is a great aging win, even though I think that's a complete fluke. But this guy, he's okay. He's not terrible. And he's a little bit younger. He's still 36, but Jim Miller's 41. So I'm going to go with Damon Jackson. I think he can get himself a decision here, as long as he doesn't get caught with a big shot from Jim Miller. Moving up to middleweight, Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. Guys, this is a pay-per-view. This is a Madison Square Garden pay-per-view, by the way. What a train wreck. Fuck, Chris Weidman's so old. I was gonna pick him, but goddamn, he's old. And so is Eric Anders, but fuck, Chris. Where does the time go? I think I'm gonna go with Chris Weidman, though, because Eric Anders is fucking terrible, dude. Eric Anders sucks. Isle Dawkins, Jamie Pickett. Lost to Marc-Andre Barriault, which isn't looking like the greatest loss in the world right now. Park is really good. Muniz is decent. Chris Weidman in his last fight, surgically removed the fucking corneas off of Bruno Silva's eyes with his fucking fingers, but, broke his leg against Hall, lost to Tavares. Akhmedov. This was a fucking good win, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's a fucking good win, dude. I think Chris Weidman lately has just looked better than Eric Anders, you know what I mean? Like in his last fight against Bruno Silva, despite finishing him with a 1-2 eye poke combination, first in UFC history. Um, but despite that, he was handedly beating the shit out of Bruno Silva basically everywhere the fight went. Like he was just looking like a much better fighter, even at 40 years old, which I think is impressive. Um, he looked good in that fight. His boxing looked good. His grappling looked solid. And Eric Anders, he's the favorite too. That's crazy. I just don't see what Eric Anders does to Chris Weidman. Like Eric Anders' chin is bad too. Eric Anders is fucking old too. Eric Anders is a worse grappler than Weidman, easily. I think boxing wise, I think Weidman has better hands right now, or at least he looked like it in that Bruno Silva fight. Like the shots he was landing on Silva, I think he can land on Anders easily. I think Anders has a worse chin than fucking Bruno Silva. And Weidman's got experience against way better fighters than Eric Anders has ever fought. I think Weidman can dig deeper to get himself a win. And hey, he's willing to poke your fucking eyes out, buddy. So I'm going with Chris Weidman, going yeah, 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 and getting up. Honestly, he's gonna TKO Eric Anders. Calling it now. He's also got a nice reach advantage. Ooh, this is a banger actually. Moving up to bantamweight, Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. This is a sick fight, fellas. Man, Jonathan Martinez is the underdog. I haven't looked at any lines yet. So some of these I'm surprised by. Marcus McGee, good striker, very dynamic kickboxing, pretty well rounded as well, very explosive, uses a lot of movement. Jonathan Martinez, good kickboxer, stays very tight, doesn't use so much movement, and he's really good at stifling guys who use a lot of movement with his leg kicks. That's kind of my thing here. Can Jonathan Martinez work his kicks against Marcus McGee? And I think he can. I picked Jose Aldo against Jonathan Martinez because I said, like, dude, what are you gonna do to Jose Aldo? You gonna out leg kick Jose Aldo? You're smoking crack, And Jonathan Martinez's grappling looked a lot better, against Saeed Nurmagomedov, who he has a win over. So I'm like, what are you going to do? Try and shoot a takedown against Jose Aldo? You're smoking crack. Jose Aldo's going to destroy this guy. But I think those things can work against Marcus McGee. I think the leg kicks can work on Marcus McGee and slow down his movement. And Marcus McGee, without his dynamic movement, I think is just kind of a very hittable guy. Now, Marcus McGee does have good technique. He's very powerful. And Jonathan Martinez's chin is a little bit suspect. But one thing in Marcus McGee's career you can notice if you dig into some of his fights is he's not very good at fighting southpaws. Is something I've noticed. He's not the best against the southpaw. And I think that will help Jonathan Martinez here. And I think as the fight goes on, and I think it will, I don't think Marcus McGee's going to find a finish on Martinez super early. He could do it, but I think that's a very low percentage chance of that happening. I think this is a fight that probably goes into like the second and third. And in that, I kind of favor the experience against the higher levels of guys that Martinez has fought and beat. Martinez has some underrated wins on here, honestly. He lost to Aldo. Adrian Yanez TKO'd him to leg kicks. Saeed Nurmagomedov got a decision on him, looked really good. Beat the shit out of Cub Swanson. Vince Morales that's a decent win, you know what I mean? And as far as Marcus McGee goes, he's really untested in my opinion. Like last one's Gaston Bolaños. I think Gaston Bolaños sucks. JP Bays sucks. Journey Newson, bleh. And those are his only 3 wins in the UFC. So I'm unsure of how he's going to look. Like this is a big step up from Gaston Bolaños. That's all I'm saying. I think Marcus McGee can win. I think he has the explosivity and the ability to land a shot on Martinez, who has kind of a suspect chin. But I think more often than not, Jonathan Martinez can stop the movement of Marcus McGee with his low kicks. And then once Marcus McGee kind of slows down and those low kicks start wearing on him, and maybe we're in the second round, deep in the second round, then we'll see what Marcus McGee really has. That's kind of how I feel like this plays out. So I'm going to go with Jonathan Martinez. I think he's going to win a decision over Marcus McGee. Maybe like 29-28. I can see Marcus McGee getting the first round for sure. Opening up the main card at lightweight, Mr. Roofy taking on James Lantop. That's an interesting line, dude. That's an interesting line. Uh, I believe you only have beaten. Yes, you've only beaten Jamie Malarkey in the UFC, and we're minus 1,000, Mauricio. Really? It's interesting. Um, okay. Um, Mauricio Rufy, really good striker, really dynamic, very creative guy, very powerful too. Good frame for lightweight as well. Um, has a real good flow to him once he gets moving. I think he will beat James Lontop here, but this line is batshit insane. Like Lontop is not a bad fighter. Like, like he's pretty good. He's got good striking, good kickboxing, durable guy, can push an insane pace. Ugh, I just can't believe the line. The line is like freezing me. I can't honestly believe it. I know Lontop's taking this fight on short notice. Um, so that's probably leads credence to why this line is so crazy. But like, dude, like Lontop, he's 0-2 in the UFC, which I think is kind of shitty. Chris Padilla got a submission on him. I still think Chris Padilla is not that good. He keeps winning and he keeps proving me wrong, but I think he's not that good. And then he had a really close fight with Vyacheslav Borishev. This fight was a banger where they just had a kickboxing clinic over 3 rounds. High pace, a lot of damage from both guys. So it did kind of show that James Lontop is pretty fucking technical on the feet. He's very disciplined. He's very calm under fire as well. But I do think that Ruffy's explosive and dynamic style and his ability to find big shots from also very just creative angles, I do think that might be kind of hard for a guy like James Lontop, who's probably very used to fighting kind of those orthodox type kickboxing styles. A style like Ruffy's sometimes can really shake just kind of like a very standard kickboxer because it's just different. And it's hard to find guys who can emulate a guy like this in camp, let alone on short notice. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think Ruffy, he's had a full camp for this fight. He's known he's going to be on this card. I think he's going to get himself a win here. I think he's probably going to get a TK over James Lontop because James Lontop did take a fair amount of fucking damage in his last fight. So he is a durable guy. I don't know. I think this might go into like round two. If Rufy goes out there and blows up James Lontop in like the first round on the feet, I'd be very impressed, honestly, because that's not an easy thing to do. I don't think. But yeah, I'm gonna go with I can't decide if he's gonna get a TKO in round one or two. I'm gonna say Rufy gets a TKO in round two. I think. We will see though. I'm interested to see how this fight plays out. Moving up to women's flyweight, Vivian Araujo versus Corrine Silva. This line's a little bit wide too, to be honest. Corrine Silva's good. She's gotten a lot of wins in a row, a lot of finishes, a lot of submissions. But Vivian Araujo is kind of a tricky veteran to be lined like this at plus 225. Are we serious with this? We're subbing we're subbing like Marina Moroz, and we're minus 275 over Vivian Araujo. I get that she's lost 3 out of her last 5, but Natalia Silva is looking like she's gonna go on to be something. Amanda Ribas is good, and Alexa Grasso held the fucking belt, and she has a win over Jennifer Maya. This is an interesting matchup. I think the line is wrong. I'm just gonna say that outright. I think this should be a lot closer to evens. Maybe Corrine Silva like minus like 150 tops. I think I'm still gonna pick her. Just because I like the finishing upside. I like that she's younger. I like that she's had, kind of like a little bit more experience going into deeper waters lately. I like that for her. But Vivian Araujo is not fucking bad, dude. I could see a potential fraud check calling on the phone. It would not surprise me, honestly. I am going to go with Corrine Silva, though. I like the finishing upside. I like her grappling better than Araujo. I think she can hang on the feet just fine. And I trust in her endurance a little bit more now. And I'm sure she's been getting better from fight to fight. Whereas I'm not sure Araujo is getting better fight to fight because she's, very old in her career. She's been around for a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Karine Silva. I think she might get a decision win here, where she might get like, I don't know, rounds 1 or 2, and then kind of tapers down a little bit, and then Araujo kind of comes up like this, and maybe Araujo gets the third round, something like that. I think could be on the cards, or maybe Karine Silva can just get her down and submit her. Possible, but Araujo's not that bad. I don't think she's not. She's not a can. I think that's going to be harder said than done. So I think Karine De Silva's decision here. Very slight lean, honestly. I was almost thinking about picking Araujo there. Moving up to middleweight, Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. Guys. Oh, Paul Craig has the chance to do the funniest shit ever, dude. He has the chance to do the funniest shit ever. If there's if there's one thing, actually that's not true. I was gonna say if there's one thing I want to happen on this card, I want Paul Craig to sub Bo Nickel. But there's something I want more later on in the card. Actually, there's two things I want more later on in the card. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Bo Nickel, dude. Paul Craig could win this fight. He actually could. I know he's plus 700, but you play with that man's guard, you're going to sleep. I'm dead. I'm dead ass. Like, do not. Bo Nickel, honestly, I think you should just keep this on the feet because I think he's got honestly way better hands than Paul Craig. Paul Craig's boxing is dog shit. He has like some nice kicks sometimes he can throw that move at like fucking a snail's pace. Um, but yeah, I think Bo Nickel's got nice hands. He's got decent power too. I don't really like Paul Craig's chin. I think his chin's pretty bad. He's 36, got KO'd brutally in his last fight. You know, but he does have that lethal jujitsu. So if Bo Nickel shoots a bad fucking takedown, Paul Craig might snatch him up. I can't lie. It's possible. It's not impossible. And at these odds, shit, Paul Craig's sub might be worth a sprinkle. You know what I'm saying? But I think Bo Nickel wins this fight like 9 times out of 10. Fucking 90 times out of 100, you know? Um, yeah, I'm going with Bo Nickel. I think he's probably going to get TKO over Paul Craig. I think he can land a big shot on the feet and probably hurt Paul Craig because Bo Nickel's a lot faster, even though his striking isn't very technical, and I think he does leave a lot of holes in his striking. Doesn't matter so much because Paul Craig's striking is also quite bad. Um, I could also see him hurting Paul Craig on the feet and actually going down into Paul Craig's guard. And I could actually see Nickel submitting Paul Craig as well. I think that actually is possible in this fight. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with Bo Nickel by inside the distance. That's my pick. Guys, moving up to the co-main event at lightweight. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler 2. If there's one thing I want on this card, outside of the main event, I would be all right with getting every single pick on this card wrong, so long as I get this one right. You understand me? I'm going with Charles Oliveira. We need this win, fellas. Fuck Michael Chandler. I do not want to see Michael Chandler anywhere near a belt. No. No. We need a Charles Oliveira W, boys. That's what we need. I think he's going to get it. You know, Michael Chandler has been on the couch for a millennia, dude. He has not done shit in forever. Charles Oliveira, last fight on UFC 300, had a pretty close and competitive fight with Arman Tsarukyan. Almost finished him in the first round. Had a Darce in the third round. A lot of people thought Arman went out, but when you drop like that in a Darce choke, that's actually and flatten out like that's actually a good defense to the Darce choke. I believe that's more so what Arman Tsarukyan was doing, not him going out. But that's completely off topic. Oliveira's been more active. I think he's fought, a really good fighter recently, whereas Chandler has not stepped into the octagon in what, like 2 years? When was your last fight again? 2, 3 years maybe? It's been a fucking minute, dude. Damn, since 2022. Jeez Louise, dude. And Chandler's not getting any younger, man. He's 38. He's taking a lot of damage. His last fight 2 years ago, he took an insane amount of damage. Because he's dumb. He honestly should have beaten Dustin Poirier, but he's a big dumb. And that's another thing why I think Charles Oliveira could beat Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler, whenever he steps into an octagon, his IQ drops by like 45 points. And he just does dumb shit. He does very predictable strikes. He'll throw the same thing over and over and over again. If he like touches Charles Oliveira with like a left hand, he's going to throw the left hand 8 times in a row, and he's going to get himself countered because he's a dumb idiot dumb. Charles Oliveira, on the other hand, very tricky striking, very nice Muay Thai style, good straight punches, good knees, good elbows. On a shorter guy like Chandler, he could get that Thai clinch and just drill a knee up through his fucking head. And then I just think in the grappling, Chandler's a nice wrestler. He's got good wrestling. But Charles Oliveira is a real grappler. This is a guy who finds dominant positions on people. He's got a good mount game. He can flatten a guy out if he gets their back. And if he gets your back, he's going to submit you. Now, I know in their first fight, he got their back, and Chandler kind of did that like rollback thing where he slammed him into the canvas. But that's like worst case scenario for Chandler. You cannot let this guy get on your back again. Especially again. You got lucky once. You're not getting lucky twice. I just think Oliveira has all the finishing upside here. He's the bigger guy. I think he's the more technical guy. I think he has a higher fight IQ. But fuck, Chandler hits so hard. I hate him. I hate him because he could just win. He could just throw that front kick. He could just throw that funny little front kick that he has that he's only thrown once in his career and just kill Charles Oliveira. He could throw that funny little front kick that he killed my goat with. You know? Fucking hate this guy. But no, this fight should be a banger. I am going with Charles Oliveira. I think he can. I think he'll finish Michael Chandler again. I hope to God. I think he can hurt Chandler on the feet, and if he hurts Chandler on the feet and drops him, Charles Oliveira is a guy with nasty finishing instincts. He's going to jump on this dude. He's going to get on his back. He'll submit him, or he'll finish him with fucking ground and pound like he did in the first fight. MMA gods, if you can hear me, please give Charles this dub. That's what we need. And moving up to the main event at heavyweight for the UFC heavyweight title, the fake one, a fight that nobody gives a fuck about. Wow. John Jones is taking on Stipe Miocic. Guys, who do you think I'm going with? Who do you think I'm going to pick? Oh no, guys, I'm picking the minus 725 in the main event of a Madison Square Garden pay-per-view. Wow. Whoa. I'm going with John Jones. Stipe Miocic is 42. I mean, his fighter profile picture literally has him in fucking Reebok shorts. The guy is 42 years old. The guy is he's past Unk status. Stipe is he's getting up to Paw status now. You know what I'm saying? He's fucking old, dude. He's coming off of a horrific KO loss. He hasn't fought in 3 years. 3 years, I want to say. 2021 is the last time you fought, right? Yep. Awesome, dude. Really legacy defining, beating the shit out of an old man, John. Yeah, John Jones is gonna win. He's way bigger. He's got way more reach. He's younger. I know he's coming off of an injury. I don't think it's gonna matter too much. I think Stipe is gonna be too rusty, man. I think he's just gonna look like a ghost out there, like a ghost of his former self. I think that's why John Jones took this fight because why would we fight somebody bigger, stronger, faster, more powerful than us, who's well-rounded and also younger? That's too scary for us, right? We got to fight a guy we pulled out of the fucking retirement home. You know what I mean? I said if there's one thing on this card that I wanted, it would be Charles Oliveira to win. I would forego Charles Oliveira winning and get every other pick on this card wrong if it meant Stipe would sleep this fucking wife beater. Honestly, I mean that. Stipe, please. Stipe, please. It would be the greatest thing in the world if just for this one fight only, Stipe just loaded up on fucking PEDs, went out there like fucking prime Mirko Krokop and just killed John Jones in the octagon with just a left hook. That would be great. But John Jones is going to beat the shit out of this old man. He's probably going to get no, he's going to submit him. He's going to submit Stipe. He's been working his grappling a lot with like Gordon Ryan. He'll probably just take down Stipe and submit him because Stipe's got fucking Danny Glover knees. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to get a takedown. He's going to submit Stipe Miocic. Probably in like round 1 or 2. But yeah, those are my predictions and picks. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. Thank you to everybody who subscribed. Love you guys for that. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.